Alright, so today we're starting off on Britvic. They are a manufacturer, marketer and distributor of soft drinks in the UK and internationally. We're going to have a quick look at them on Simply Wall Street, and then we're going to jump straight into their website, see what brands they provide and get to know who Britvic are. Firstly, their ticker symbol is BVIC. Quite easy to remember. They're up 7.2%. The share price is £7.79 each, and a market cap at the moment of a respectable 2.2 billion. And as we can see, they've had highs about £9, lows down towards 8.23, so we're in the middle of that at the moment. And as you can see, they're trading at 37% below their fair value. I'll be looking at that later. Earnings are forecast to grow 10%, and they're trading at a good value compared to peers and industry. Risks, well, significant insider trade or selling over the last 3 months, high level of debt, and an unstable dividend track record. We'll be looking at that. They are currently considered an undervalued, adequate balance sheet, and they pay a dividend, scoring 5 out of 6 on the valuation and 4 out of 6 on financial health. Right, now, in order to get to know them, straight to their website, has a few things we'll want to look at. 39 brands everyone loves, and personally, I like quite a few of their brands. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know that they own some of these brands, so it's amazing what happens when you look into a company. You might be very surprised who owns the drinks you drink or the food you eat. Now, let's go. They have 7-Up on their list here. They even have, I think at the bottom, oh, not in the 7-Up. They have it on, they had a wee thing where it said facts. I don't know why it's not showing up now. Anyway, we can skip the facts. I can tell you all about it. They have Ballygowan water, which one of my favourite. I would say it's up there with the likes of Evian. I love Evian water. I know everyone's like, you either have an opinion that water tastes differently across brands or it doesn't. Personally, my rankings like Fiji, S tier, followed by, the likes of Evian and then Ballygowan as well. They also do fruit shoot. So for a lot of us in the UK, you had it with your lunch as a child. Well, fruit shoot. They actually have a special flavour in France. I think it's iced teas in France. And in America, they've got the fruit punch flavour of fruit shoot. That was some of the little facts they had that it's not coming up now, but it is what it is. Gatorade. Now, a few of you might have also seen the likes of J2O, Lipton Iced Tea. Love Lipton Iced Tea. One of my favourite drinks. Then, of course, Mountain Dew. And they've Pepsi. Now, this might confuse a few people, so let me explain. When it says Pepsi Max, and yes, they do distribute and manufacture Pepsi in the UK, it's mainly, it's like a license deal that they have with PepsiCo, so it's not that they own Pepsi Max or just Pepsi, so that's something just to bear in mind for the sort of Great Britain market. As we go over, they have a few that I've never really seen before, and I've heard of Purdy's. What was that one? The London Essence Company and Tesserina. Never heard of them either. But Rockstar Energy, which was acquired by, I think it was acquired by PepsiCo for something like over $3 billion. It was the largest non-alcoholic purchase of an energy drink ever. So that was pretty mad. They reckon another massive one might be Prime if it gets picked up by the likes of Coca-Cola or something into the future. I'm sure plenty of people will be happy to hear that it will make some influencers extremely wealthy with that decision, if it goes through. I'm sure they're already extremely wealthy with it. Referring to the likes of Logan Paul and KSI on that one. Tango, I don't mind Tango. Now, a lot of people, Tango, 7-Up versus Sprite and, Fanta and that. Look, each, they have their own unique taste. If I get it, I won't turn my nose up at it. They also cover the likes of Brazil with plenty of other brands, and then internationally they have some of their own as well. Right, now what I did want to point out is their Wikipedia page. So you need to get to know exactly. Firstly, I love knowing what the actual long name is. So British Vitamin Products Company is where they got Britvic. Founded in the 19th century, mid-19th century in Chelmsford. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, close enough. We've got here that they were a division of Allied Breweries, and then it changed its name in 71, merged with Canada Dry Rawlings and acquired the R. White's Lemonade, then acquired Tango and Corona. Now, when I seen Corona, I was like, the alcohol drink? No, this was actually a soft drink I didn't know existed called Corona. I think they stopped it in like the late 90s. I don't know if anyone remembers drinking or ever seeing that. My mum and dad have no idea, so I'm imagining maybe it wasn't distributed over here in Northern Ireland that much. So let me know if anyone knows of that one. Yep, and then he bought them from Beecham's, and then they also own the UK franchise for Pepsi and 7-Up. And then they bought Robinson's, which again, a diluting drink, which is awesome. Robinson's also own Fruit Chip, to my knowledge. So yeah, some pretty interesting things. I didn't know this. They were actually going to merge with AG Bar, which are Scotland's largest drink producer of Iron Brew, Tizzer and DMB, which would have created one of Europe's largest companies, but the merger in 2013 kind of fell through. So it was completely abandoned. We'll be talking about AG Bar in an upcoming video. I'm currently drinking one of their energy drinks called Rubicon Raw. So, yeah, it'll be good to compare them side by side in a separate video as well. Let's see. PepsiCo decided to sell up its 4.5% stake in Britvic in 2017. There you go. Didn't know that. They employ, we'll find out all this information over on our next page. Let's go back to Simply Wall Street and get a good idea of Britvic. So, we know all the basics, know their product line, what they provide. Obviously, they do the marketing and distribution of these drinks as well. So, we'll go down. Competitors, Fever Tree Drinks, AG Bar, Coca-Cola, HBC, which is the London-based one. I actually think they've got a plant over here as well. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Down to price and performance. Now, we'll extrapolate it back to COVID. I always like to see how far did they drop in 2020 of March. £6.03 was the cheapest you could have picked it up, and actually the cheapest in the last 5 years. And then at their peak just before that, they were trading at a height of £10.68. Now, if we drop it back down to a year, you can see that they recently had an annual general meeting, and they also had a dividend increase. Good wee thing to see. And we can get a wee bit of news, mostly just quarterly results, a high new number of directors, and a few other things. Now, one of their executive directors, or the CEO, one of the two, sold 363,000 worth of stock in the last 3 months, so we'll have a wee nosy at that later on. On down, shareholder returns and price volatility, and compared to industry average, it's significantly lower. I would say it would be one of the more stable industries when it comes to share price. Yes, £6 and £10 is a fair fluctuation, but as you can see in the last year, it's not really went up or down, give or take 50 pence. So it's sometimes having a less volatile stock in portfolios, some people prefer that. We can see their earnings are £124 million and a revenue of £1.75 billion. That gives them a pay ratio of 17.5, but we'll see how that stacks against competitors, as that's the best way to use that metric. On down, earnings per share is 0.50, gross margin 40%, net profit margin 7%. I would say that'd be quite tight for an industry such as this. It does, however, have a debt-to-equity ratio of 166%, so something to keep an eye on. And another date to keep an eye on for them is May 15th, when their next earnings date is called out. Dividend yield of 3.5%, quite modest, and a payout ratio of 64%. So it's not the highest dividend. Some savings accounts could probably surpass that, but again, dividend investing is really for the long term and the compounding. Whilst saving rates do go up and down. Payout ratio of 64% is nothing, it's not massively noteworthy. It's okay. Let's have we see. Well, down to valuation now. So this is the fair value. I used to always say this. I'm still going to say it. Fair value it's based on cash flows of the company expected into the future. There's a fair wee formula to it. I use it as... there's plenty of formulas to calculate, like intrinsic value and all of a share price for a company. Take it with a grain of salt. That's if it's super overvalued, super undervalued, again, grain of salt, but it's always nice just to see where it stacks up. So it's considered 37.4% undervalued using a discounted cash flow model. So that's not a bad thing if you're holding stock in it. It's pretty good news. The formula's working out for you at least. When it comes to competitors on the PE ratio, they're neck and neck with AG Bar. Fever Tree Drinks just through the roof. We'll be talking about them in a separate video. So we'll have a look at that. And Coca-Cola. So between their competitors, they're pretty similar. They're not super out in front, super behind on PE ratio. So again, not a bad thing to see. And in the industry average, they are just below. So yeah, let's drop down to future growth. Currently, estimated 10.3% earnings growth rate. That's not bad. We can see here that they had a dip from 2020 to 2021. Again, we could possibly blame, I don't know, a certain global pandemic for that. But since then, they have rose in both earnings and their revenue. Free cash flow, I always like to pop out here. 160 million, that's pretty decent, and it is forecasted to sort of maintain whilst earnings and revenue into 2026 is looking good, provided everything is going well. In terms of the annual growth, they are higher than their industry, but slightly lower than their market for earnings, and then pretty just above both industry and market for annual revenue growth. Past performance, we can see here, this is a new wee feature, where it actually breaks down everything. So we can see their expenses, biggest is general, administration, sales and marketing would make sense. You know, they spend an awful lot, I would say, on marketing for such products. And then cost of sales for manufacturing and making of drinks, about $1 billion. I wonder where licensing would come under for a lot of this. Would probably cost of sales for licensing. I would imagine so. I don't think it would come under general administrative, but it's something to notice. So yeah. And let's go on down. Earnings and revenue history. They were doing quite well all the way up to 2020, so that was a promising sign. If you do see a dip in most companies, 2020 to 2021, again, you have to factor in factors such as that. It's more so how have they done since that I would concentrate on. Operating expenses as well. Well, that also went down in 2020, the no one's surprise, but operating expenses tend to increase as a company grows. Financial health, they have the 166% debt to equity. We're going to look at that. They do score 4 out of 6, down when their short-term assets don't cover short-term liabilities, and the debt equity ratio is considered quite high. So we'll go down here. They have 100 million in cash and 391 million in equity. Liabilities 1.5 and assets 1.9. So we can see here that their equity has grown substantially up to the likes of 2022, and their debt it's largely remained. It's increased here and there, but it seems to have just hovered around the sort of 580, 650 million. Again, if you throw in the cash and equivalents, it's sort of the gap's somewhat it's a bit closer, but that is something that you would certainly have to factor in, but it is considered high debt. But if we do go down to see the debt coverage, we can see here that it's well covered by operating cash flow, and the interest payments are also well covered by their earnings before tax or interest and taxes, which again, I would look at these two metrics much faster than I would look at, the scary, red part of debt, because debt isn't this. It can be the scariest thing when mismanaged. Of course, none of this is financial information or advice or anything. Just my 2 cents in some of these things. Down to the dividend, the thing everyone was waiting for. Industry average for them is 2.7, so they do beat the industry average. Dividend per share is about 31 pence. Earnings per share, 50 pence. Dividend yield forecast is about 4.3, so they seem to want to be growing it. Now, when it says unstable dividend, they did drop it in 2020. Again, most companies did. So the fact that that's flagged up, look, you got to take it with an ounce of salt there because of that little factor. And we can see that their annual percentage is it's forecasted to grow. It was actually growing quite nicely. Now, obviously, they pay 2 dividends per year. I've gathered from this. And they pay a smaller payment in the sort of May time, and then they pay their larger final payment in December. So again, something notice if you do get stocks in this company. Let's see. Not in the market top 25%, definitely not. But they're higher than the industry average and the bottom 25%. Plus, they're forecasted to grow. Earning payout 64%, cash payout 47%. Again, pretty good, not bad. I actually don't mind a lot of the fundamentals here, so yeah, it's nice. Management scores a bitter 1 out of 4. So we can see the CEO's been in for 11 years. Okay, and the average tenure of management is 4 years, and board is just 2. 2.9 million total compensation for Simon Litherland. Not bad. Simon here also sold, as far as I'm aware here, shares recently, so we'll skip just past him. Ownership of 0.18%. He owns about 4 million, and he sold about 300,000. Yeah, 360,000 worth of shares, which is about 40,000 in recently as January there. Now again, there can be plenty of reasons for this. I'm not going to speculate too much on it. That is what maybe like barely 10% of his equity he had overall in the company. So maybe he thought things were going good. Maybe he needed to buy that yacht. Maybe his Linktree has a reason for it. I'm not sure whether I know they're supposed to disclose when they sell. I don't know if many of them disclose why they sell. So that's something, if anyone knows, let me know. Ownership breakdown, majorities owned by institutions, followed by hedge funds, then general public. The top ones, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, and of course Vanguard. The usual bunch, the usual top 10 that you would see across the board. And no single individuals, to my knowledge here, are to be found. No one here. And as you know, if he owns 4 million, so he's not even making into the top 20 here of ownership. They currently employ around, 4,500 employees, and they're based in Hemel Hempstead in Hertfordshire. Nice. Founded in 2005. I suppose PLC, it was like established then. And the industry they operate in, food, beverage, and tobacco. Don't know about that last bit, but... Oh no, the sector. Industry is soft drinks. So that was a pretty neat run with them. So let me know your thoughts on Britvic. And as I said, we'll be doing daily videos. Be releasing at about 2 o'clock every day. Today was a little later than the others. So let me know your thoughts. AG Bar's coming up next. And after that, I'll be doing some other company. So I'll see you all then. Thank you for watching.